of owning a cafe and other heroic deeds by Beware the Tristram. Chapter 47, Talks, Part 2. Watching with all of the sly, cruel enjoyment of a wolf having cornered the wounded stag he'd stalked, Shigaraki pulled the chair next to him away with a wave of his hand, his smile still warm, fine even, as the bane of his existence, the symbol of peace, the man whom held the final piece to his victory within his overly muscular form, bolted him. Oh, that fear, that hesitancy, it was, surely to have time to chat with an old friend, do you not? Delicious! Then the spell of his fear, concern, and anxiety momentarily broken, the blonde managed to force out a "Shigaraki, how have you been?" before staunchly, stoically, and stiffly making his approach, whilst Aizawa Shouta-kun, was it? So very helpfully told the blonde, "I'll bring your order over for you, okay?" Helpful indeed. Come, Yagi-kun, why ever are you so serious? He smirked, his eyes glittering with glee, as the man took the chair and pulled it further away before sitting down, his nostrils flaring. "What in the world are you doing here?" The number one bro, what a joke, breathed out, his body hunched, his entire being tensed up like a coiled spring. "Oh," he purred. "Can't a man simply tour about his hometown and enjoy a slice of pie, crafted by a true and humble artisan every so often?" He mused thoughtfully. "He's very talented, isn't he, your Shouta-kun?" He chuckled, his eyes flashing mischievously as the other barely suppressed the growl. Oh, this was almost too much fun! "Yo, he's quite different from your usual type, isn't he?" Yes, very different from that simpering American man. What was his name again? Shield David, wasn't it?" "Don't you fucking dare you!" "My goodness, such language!" he tittered before leaning back in his chair and raising his hands in a placating gesture. "I meant no offense, and Aizawa-kun," he greeted as the affable young man made his approach with 3 large boxes stacked atop each other with 4 more smaller ones on top. "Whatever do you have there, Nay?" "His usual muffin order and some pies besides." The handsome eatery owner grinned, that smile fond and telling. "Would either of you like a drink?" But that sounds perfect," he cut in, his expression deceptively warm. "Please, it's my treat," he added cordially with a wink at the muscle-bound simpleton. "We'll have 2 of your finest lemonades, please, Aizawa-kun," he ordered. "Oh, and by any chance, would you happen to have any of these tasty muffins available to purchase? They smell divine," he praised, his eyes locking with that woman's infuriating protege as he desperately struggled to remain calm. Oh, how he would relish this day for years to come. "Of course, I'll be right back with your drinks and a muffin selection for you to choose from," the raven-haired man replied with another polite incline of his head as he moved back to his eatery, services, bar, and beyond. My, such a charming young man, isn't he?" he cooed. "One could become quite taken with him, don't you think?" "Leave him alone," the blonde grit out. "I will not allow you to—" So you would like to fight me right now, in this place?" he murmured thoughtfully, his hands gesturing around calmly. "Is that not a little reckless even for you, Toshinori-kun?" He mused. "I mean, yes, you could punch me through that window and maybe the structural integrity of the building would hold, but—" he purred, an overly dramatic sigh filled with mock concern drawing out the moment. "Maybe it wouldn't," he breathed, a flicker of power crackling over him, its presence disturbing the herbs to his left whilst their blue eyes locked meaningfully. "And so it seems we are at an impasse, are we not?" he crooned, his body the epitome of serenity, whilst he gestured again around the area. I could demand that you give me one for all. You could retaliate, and perhaps a few of these good people would survive the mess we'd make," he argued, his shoulders shrugging. "But would he forgive you if he somehow escaped the fallout? Would the parents of those children thank you for having no little innocent bodies to bury when our spat inevitably reduces this area to rubble and ash?
"Bastard!" the taller, broader man growled out. "You would do such a thing, wouldn't you? How can you not care? Why are you so hell-bent on ruining any goodness that you find?"
"Goodness," he hummed thoughtfully. "Ah, such a simple, childish notion," he mused mildly. "Nothing is inherently good, Yagi. Everything has a price, and no good deed ever goes unpunished. Or didn't watching her die teach you that, Oh, the blonde's form was now bunched up, the neon power in his eyes sparking, ready to explode. "Ow! Had he done it? Was that the last straw of all Mike's patience snapping?"
"Here are your drinks, and these are the 4 kinds of muffins that are left, Shigaraki-san."
Smiling again, his body so cool, calm, and confident, All for One gracefully took the plate and watched. How fascinating! As the cafe owner placed the drinks down from the trays, stopped, regarded the number 1 pro, and placed a gentle, considerate hand upon the broad, quivering meat of his shoulder.
"Are you all right?"
Then, as though God himself had flipped the switch, Yagi Toshinori settled, the tension coursing through him evaporating, whilst he turned to blind the raven-haired man with a true genuine smile, a smile that a plethora of cameras that shot at him every day very rarely captured.
"I'm fine, thank you, Shunta-kun,"
he said without a hint of strain.
"Shigaraki and I were merely discussing something that reminded me of past events, which I believe the both of us should discuss at another time. Privately,"
he stated, a glare which the dark-eyed man couldn't see, snapping to him meaningfully. "Oh, so that's how you want to play it, he thought. "You've not allowed him so close to you yet. He doesn't know the danger he's in. You don't want him so involved. Then he can't be a pro with a day job. Ah, are ye falling for a civilian, are you? Is this history repeating itself? Didn't Shimura warn you about such things?" He thought his cool demeanor was still present whilst he sipped his drink. So refreshing.
And you've made extras and all 4 of these flavors? Shunta-kun, you're always so generous. Would you mind boxing up any more of the muffins that are left for me, please? After my old friend has made his choice, of course."
"Sure thing." The other blinked, his smile soft and indulgent, those fingers giving the other's shoulder another squeeze before he pulled away.
"I'll go make a start. Shout if you need or want anything else, all right?"
Wow, what an intimate gesture. How very sweet.
"Eat, you son of a bitch!"
Chuckling, his hand returning the cool glass of his lemonade back to his mouth leisurely, All for One took a sip. Delicious. Before selecting a golden blueberry oozing cake to sample, his smile broadening further. "You sly dog," he admitted. "You're trying to keep all of the treats for yourself, He sniggered. "Ah, how very like you to hoard the things that I want for myself." He sighed. "But still, I am not opposed to merely chewing the fat with you at the moment." He nodded pleasantly. "It'd be a great pity to demolish this lovely little place and harm that lovely young man, wouldn't it?"
"Eat!"
the taller man ground out sharply.
"Then you and I will live here and—"
"Oh, no, Yagi, that simply will not do," he replied after another bite. "Ah, these are good," he chuckled. "No, you will leave with your order. I will stay and finish mine, and let's call this place an area of neutral territory, eh?" He offered the first muffin, sadly gone.
"You truly believe that I'd trust you to keep your word?"
the bronzed pro hissed whilst the children continued to laugh and chat. Aizawa greeted a few MU students at the service bar, and a new theme of jazz, catchy, rippled out of the speaker system. "Trust me? Don't trust me? That's your choice," he hummed. He'd picked up a raspberry and white chocolate muffin next. Divine! "But You'll either play along with me for now, keep my identity secret, keep my presence here secret, and run along, or I'll finish off this plate and then, well, finish off everyone within a mile radius." He shrugged.
Ah, there was that look of self-righteous indignation and glorious fear it craved. "Let's twist the knife a bit more, shall we?"
"You know perfectly well that such a thing is something I am capable of, and as strong as you are, All Might, I only have to lift a finger and it's done. These people are gone," he said before another healthy bite. But wouldn't it be a shame to pile more innocent lives atop your already bleeding conscience,
Then you leave first,"
he sneered, his muscles flexing, his jaw clenching.
Yup.
You're in no position to make demands, he surmised, the conviction he'd held now gone as he reached for a banana toffee treat. What an interesting and wonderful mix of flavors. "Those are my terms," he stated clearly. "The ball is now in your court, as your dear Americans like to say." He smirked. The final muffin, a rich combination of 3 kinds of chocolate with caramel,
How indulgent!
now crumbling to his wickedly pleased maw. "Oh, poor little Yayi Toshinori," he mentally mocked as he watched a range of emotions cross those darkened features. "Here is your chance to duel me after you and your subordinates have failed time and time again to drag me down, and yet your big whore has your hands tied, doesn't it?" he crooned. "Whatever will you do now, I wonder?" Seeing the MU students safely away, with 2 iced coffees and the last sandwiches from the lunch rush bagged up in their hands as they walked out into the muggy, oppressive atmosphere, it looked as though they were finally getting some rain, didn't it? Shouta hummed and looked around his eatery. The tots were all crowded around Dobby as he played through a new game. Tomra and Spinner would no doubt be arriving soon. They were walking here together since the decay quirk user had been completing his online courses at his apartment. He thought his uncle may have been dropping by too. And the CCTV showed Tomoko with Mimi-chan's group all having fun. Similarly, Fuchida Sora, now 7 months into her pregnancy, was sat amongst the cats who were very intrigued by her baby bump, while she chatted with her child's adopted grandmothers and enjoyed herself. Everything looked great, everything seemed fine, and yet, as he slanted his eyes ever so often to All Might and Shigaraki-san, he couldn't help but feel...
"I'll be going, then."
pensive. Yes, there was something about the way the older man was talking to the number pro that just didn't sit right with him. However, he supposed that there wasn't a great deal he could do, and it really wasn't any of his business, but watching the blue-eyed man he'd come to know and care about as a person, not the flashy icon blasted across every other billboard, bus, and internet banner, get up stiffly, his movements forced, his posture straining as though he was stressed and angry, well, he didn't like it. He wanted to help him.
"Shigaraki-san,"
he called.
"have you decided which muffins you'd like to add to your order?"
He furthered whilst walking to the end of the service bar, his critical gaze observing the seemingly mild-mannered, courteous and pleasant older man, who'd riled his friends so much, over the cutlery station. Now that he thought about it, there was a strange closeness between them, wasn't there? Could he be the pro's father? Did he not like the career the man had chosen? Or was he a hero critic, maybe his doctor? Oh God, there wasn't something wrong with the blonde's health or quirk, was there? No, the symbol of peace seemed more defensive than anything else. He was wary and possibly worried? Not good. Aizawa-kun, may I please have 4 of each if you have them? That'll not eat into our dear number one's request too much, will it? Oh, but we're both so greedy, aren't we? He laughed, and it seemed friendly enough, honest enough, didn't it? However, those words also sounded like they were loaded with a deeper hidden meaning, a meaning that was shared between the 2 men he was observing. His hackles were rising higher by the second.
"That shouldn't be a problem,"
he told him with a nod.
"All Might, just give me 2 minutes and I'll box up the rest for you, okay?" "Thank you, Shouta-kun. That'd be great,"
the other replied, that smile taut across his features. Something was definitely up, wasn't it? Offering a bow, he skittered back to his kitchen, grabbed his tongs, and started to portion up the small golden cakes with his left hand whilst manipulating his cell phone with his right. Being ambidextrous had its perks. His fingers fired off 2 texts. The first was to Dobby.
Something weird's happening. Can you take the kids to the cat enclosure, please? Tell Tomoko to unlatch the emergency door, too.
The second was to Sir Night-Eye.
There's a man called Shigaraki at the cafe, and All Might seems off. Is everything okay? You can hack into my CCTV if you need to.
Hopefully, he was blowing his instincts out of proportion. However, there was no denying the worry gnawing at his senses. But with the cakes loaded, he decided to play the situation by ear and returned to service bar to see the blonde awaiting him. His lodger and the kids, none of whom had made a fuss, were already on the move, those turquoise eyes briefly meeting his before the teenager ushered them all out of sight. God, he was such a good kid.
There you go.
He smiled.
Have a good afternoon.
He bowed, returning the bow. It was telling, very telling, that he found himself unable to speak. He looked how he had on that night Mr. Compress had surprised him. Double shit! The taller, broader man added the boxes to what he already had, opened the cafe door, and left without a backward glance.
Those muffins were delightful, Aizawa-kun. And if you'll forgive me for saying so,
the older man stated as he too stood, his glass empty. All Might's hadn't been touched. His hand picking up the packaged pies.
I find it hard to believe that you're not classically trained,
he praised.
Baking is logical,
he replied in kind, and with a smile he didn't feel.
With correct weights, measurements, and temperatures, the desired result is virtually always at hand, which is satisfying, rewarding, and far less complicated than the fancy, expensive catering school would let you believe.
He furthered,
I've also been able to make some great connections with excellent stockists and suppliers.
He added, his expression relaxing and becoming fond as he thought of the deals he'd made.
Quality ingredients tend to create quality products, after all.
He reasoned, before his eyes tracking the man as he casually walked towards him. He asked,
May I get you anything else, Shigaraki-san?
Goodness, my dear, I'd be tempted to buy up everything in this place and your services besides. He chortled, a black Amex card flashing over his till's pay point. Holy shit! But sadly, I am needed elsewhere at the moment. However, could I please ask you to help me carry your delicious wares to my car? He edged.
My driver is a good man, but getting on in years, you see.
Blinking and nodding, because what was the harm, really? There were no other customers on the approach, and he could see through the window and past his parasols, an expensive car rolling slowly down the street. Shouta picked up the 2 muffin boxes and walked through the bar's security gate. Then, his eyes checking over his eatery once more, he pulled open the door and stepped back for the older man to pass him.
And they say that chivalry is dead,
the graying-haired quirk specialist hummed, a certain twinkle in his eye as he moved into the muggy, humid summer heat. Chuckling despite himself, he was soon moving alongside him whilst casually looking around, a real style stretching his lips when Spinner and Tom rounded the cafe. The shorter boy stopped suddenly whilst the lizard-quirked boy waved at them enthusiastically.
Hey, Cat Dad, he called. Don't tell me that all the muffins are gone,
he asked, his dark gaze roving around the boxes he carried enviously.
There are still plenty of your favorite cookies, don't worry,
he sniggered.
You can make your way inside and grab some if you like. Toma will show you where they are in the kitchen, okay?
He offered, his gaze moving to the gray hoodie-covered teen, who seemed to have snapped out of his stupor to bow at them both.
You're the best. Thank you. Good afternoon, sir,
the purple-haired youth said with a polite incline of his head that was mirrored by Shigaraki and the shorter boy again as they skirted around them and approached the cafe's doors.
Good afternoon, dear boys. Do enjoy yourselves, won't you?
The elder returned whilst he watched them go before refocusing on the car.
Aizawa-kun, so you make biscuits as well?
How marvelous! He praised as they reached the car, the back door springing open for him. Then with a sigh, he shuffled onto the plush leather seat, the climate control blasting out cool, clean air to waft at them both, deposited his boxes, and then gratefully took the others, which were held out for him.
Thank you so much for your time and wonderful company, Aizawa-kun,
he stated, a smile with a few too many teeth flashing at him.
I do look forward to seeing you again soon.
Seeing Sensei walking next to Shouta had very nearly caused him to vomit. Shit, if he had just eaten, then he was certain that he would have done. Shit! He'd been so fucking careful,
Bzz, swallowing thickly
As he entered under the tinkling bell of the Northern Echo's main door, he found himself shuddering, his body slipping into the first booth, while Spinner talked at him. He couldn't hear him, and Dobby walked up to where they were stationed, their newest friend no doubt wanting cookies. His partner no doubt wanting to know if he was okay. He probably looked like his world had ended. He probably had.
Just give me a minute, okay?
He rasped out, his eyes fixed on his phone once he'd pulled it from his hoodie pocket, the knot in his stomach eating up his intestines as he vaguely clocked the pair hesitate before moving away. Shigaraki.
Hello, my boy. How have you been?
Fuck! Shit, where was Shouta? Snapping his head up, he let out a shaky breath when he saw the man. No worse for wear, not trembling in shock after having his quirk snatched away. Thank God! Walking back to the cafe, his face a little nonplussed, but not distressed in the slightest. Tomura.
Sensei, I thought you were meeting me at home.
Shigaraki. But is this cafe not your home, Tomura? You've been spending a great deal of time there, haven't you? You excellent, marvelous boy! Why didn't you tell me that you'd found such a valuable chink in our foe's armor? Oh, fuck! Tomura.
I thought it would be best to discuss that in person. You're always saying that technology can be hacked, right?
He tried to cover his eyes, flicking up to meet Shota's as he entered and greeted him with a hair ruffle. God, he was going to miss those. Before moving back to the service area, he couldn't allow his benefactor to know that he was here for other sentimental reasons. Shigaraki. I see. Come on, please just accept what I've said. In any event, we will be moving up north in 3 days' time. Wait. What? 3 days? But he didn't want to leave. Shigaraki, you'll be able to think of a viable excuse for your absence, won't you? Unless you'd like to bring that young man of yours with us? I must confess that I wouldn't be opposed to spiriting Aizawa away myself. Oh, God. Oh, no. No! Tomura.
You don't want that kind of hassle.
He rapidly typed, his form trembling, to take Shouta away from this community, to force him and Dobby into bondage, to leave Hitoshi, who'd suffered enough, goddammit, alone. No! No, we wouldn't! He couldn't allow it! Tomura.
I'll make a viable excuse, don't worry.
He told him. Shigaraki. Very well, then. Thank God. You seem quite attached to these people, though, Tomura. You do surprise me. Shit! But you won't have told them, will you? You've not let on about your higher purpose, or what happened to your family, have you? Swallowing thickly, he could feel his quirk eating through the gloves the cafe owner had given him, his eyes tearing. Why not tell them, Instead of leaving? They could chase you out, couldn't they? Then you'll see firsthand what I've been telling you all along about this world, and the so-called nice people who claim to inhabit it. He senior typed. Yes. I believe that would be the best, don't you?